Alright guys, we are back for some more Championship transfer rumours, and we've got plenty to discuss in today's video. As always, if you're going to enjoy, make sure to leave a like, and do get your thoughts on all of these in the comments down below. But without any further ado, let's jump in. Starting out with some of the done deals, we saw Imran Louza complete a loan deal to Lorient for the remainder of the season. Watford fans haven't quite seen the best of the Moroccan midfielder this season. Clearly a very good player in there, as was showcased at times last season, but under Valor and Ishmael this time around, Louza's just not quite looked the same. Taylor Gordon-Hickman has completed his permanent move over to Bristol City, had spent the first portion of the season on loan at Ashton Gate, and the club has since activated the buy option that they had in that deal for around about 1.3 million. I think this will be a deal which ends up suiting both sides. I've been really impressed with him in a Bristol City shirt so far this season. When Bristol City came to Deepdale over the weekend, I thought that he was one of their better performers, if I'm honest. Also means that West Brom get a decent chunk of change going into their squad as well. On the back of that, we also saw Andy Weimann moving in the opposite direction, heading to West Brom for the remainder of the season on loan, and that will see him seeing out his contract at Bristol City. He is out of contract at the end of the season, and so will then be available on a free transfer. Sad to see Weimann leaving Bristol City. Really a great performer over these last few years, but I think everyone will admit not quite been hitting those same standards this season. Will be interesting to see if a change of scenery gets that better form out of him. Calvin Ramsey has been recalled by Liverpool, meaning that his loan spell with Preston North End is now up. Bit of a bizarre move, all things considered. Ramsey came to the club while he was injured, got himself back fit, and then couldn't really get a look into the matchday squad. Only played 132 minutes of Championship football in total. Will be interesting to see what the plan is with Liverpool after that, and whether he does head back out on loan into the Championship or he sticks with Liverpool for the remainder of the season. Concerning from a North End point of view is that Lowe's come out and said that we won't be going in for another right wing back in the January window, which means it's literally just Brad Potts in that position from now until the end of the season. Plymouth haven't had much luck with loanees recently. Kane Kessler-Hayden's been recalled by Aston Villa, and it's currently being reported that he'll either head back out on loan in this January window or he'll be sold on a permanent basis. And another loanee that Plymouth have lost on top of that is Lewis Warrington, who has returned to Everton after an ankle injury, and he won't be making a return to Plymouth after that. Really concerning given all the bodies that Plymouth have lost over these last couple of weeks. They're definitely going to need to be active over these next couple of weeks to replace those players. And we saw Bristol City landing a loan deal for Scott Twine until the end of the season. Twine, who had spent the first half of the campaign on loan with Hull, was pulled out of there and sent to Bristol City. Now this is an interesting move. I think it would be fair to say that Hull fans saw glimpses of what Twine was capable of, but perhaps didn't live up to the lofty expectations that were placed on his shoulders in the summer. And with Carvalho going in there, you'd think that maybe Twine would have a reduced role to play at Hull in the second half of the campaign. He's going to a Bristol City side who have just lost Andy Weimann, and working under a manager who he's previously played the best football of his career under in Manning when he was previously at MK Dons. From those perspectives, I think that this one could work out best probably for the player and the clubs involved. Very much looking forward to seeing how he gets on at Bristol City for the remainder of the season. But there are some of the latest done deals which have gone through in the Championship. If we missed any off, make sure to get them in the comments down below. Now without any further ado, let's jump into the rumours. It looks as if Southampton are going to get a loan deal over the line for Bournemouth midfielder Joe Rothwell. I think this will be a really positive addition to really spur them on for the second half of the season. His minutes in the Premier League this time around have been somewhat limited with the Cherries, just 3 starts and then 8 sub-appearances. But in the Championship, the 29-year-old can absolutely be a difference maker. His last full season in the Championship with Blackburn Rovers, he got 3 goals and 10 assists. Really clever player from the centre of the pitch. In that final season with Blackburn, he was one of the best dribblers in the league, really good in tight spaces. Already knows Adam Armstrong well from his time at Blackburn as well. So yeah, that one for me ticks a lot of boxes. Be very excited to see him back in the Championship. Sunderland's Anthony Patterson is being linked with a move to Liverpool. Now it's currently being reported that the Reds could be willing to cash in on Kelleher, and so could be in the market for a new number 2 goalkeeper, and it seems as if they've set their sights on the Sunderland shot stopper. Now, Sunderland's recruitment policy has been very much in line with bringing in youngsters and bringing up young players of their own, and when you have that sort of recruitment model, you're always going to get a lot of interest from some of the big boys in the Premier League in your most in-demand stars, who do clearly have a very high ceiling in terms of their potential. Patterson, one of the best young goalkeepers in the Championship right now, and it seems as if Liverpool are after a long-term number 2 option, and Patterson would tick those boxes for them. No doubt Sunderland would command a big fee for the goalkeeper though, and it remains to be seen if Liverpool will be willing to splash that sort of money on a number 2 goalkeeper. Definitely want to keep your eye on over these next few weeks though. That I could imagine would be more of a deal for the summer rather than January. Reported on Joe Gelhardt quite a bit during the January window so far. West Brom, the latest club I've seen linked with the Leeds United forward. There's already been a host of other Championship clubs who have been mentioned in conversations with him, along with the likes of Rangers and Celtic as well. Not sure a move to West Brom would make the most sense right now, with West Brom having recently brought in Andy Weimann. Not sure Leeds will be willing to send someone to a direct promotion rival at this stage either. But I'm interested to see what happens with Gelhardt come the end of this window. His minutes have been somewhat limited so far this season. Michael Carrick is reportedly trying to use his Manchester United connections to strike a loan deal with Amad Diallo for the remainder of the season. Now, that would be some bit of business if Borough did manage to pull it off. Now, to be fair, Middlesbrough last January had an absolutely cracking transfer window with the loanees they were able to attract with the club. Clearly, Carrick's a very good coach with developing talent as well, and I mean, Diallo is one of the most in-demand players if he is to be made available for a loan deal in January, with a whole host of Championship clubs and even some Premier League clubs interested in taking him. But thinking about a potential forward line, which would include the likes of Marcus Forss when he's back fully fit, Isaiah Jones and Amad Diallo, oh my god, it's the stuff of dreams, isn't it? Definitely the sort of player that could make absolutely all the difference in a potential playoff push for Middlesbrough. Last time around in the Championship for Sunderland, 14 goals, 3 assists and so many worldies along the way. Remains to be seen if Diallo will be going out on loan in January and where that will be, but Middlesbrough are seemingly throwing their hat into the ring. We've had an interesting transfer link emerging with Barnsley forward Devante Cole, with the likes of Huddersfield, Hull and Cardiff all said to be interested. He has had a good first half of this campaign with Barnsley, having scored 15 league goals already. In the last year and a half at League One level, he's hit the back of the net 30 times, and so you can see why there would be a bit of Championship interest with those sorts of numbers. Very much a forward in the poacher's mould. With a contract expiring at the end of the season, it would be interesting to see how much it would take to prize him out of Barnsley at this stage. Last time out, we spoke about Leeds United's interest in Bournemouth defender Chris Mentham. Well, they could face a little bit of competition for his signature, as Sheffield United are also said to be keen on the Bournemouth defender. Not had that many chances in the first team for Bournemouth so far this season, so an exit in January could very much be on the cards, but it remains to be seen where he will end up. Tottenham do like to dip into the EFL for young talents. One of the latest youngsters that they are being linked to is Blackburn's Adam Wharton. Now, the good news for Rovers fans is they do have Wharton tied down to a long-term contract, and so the ball is very much in their court to go ahead and dictate a transfer valuation with him under contract with the club until the summer of 2028. There have been situations previously where Rovers have had to lose players at below market value, or even let them go on a free transfer, in the example of Brereton Diaz. That shouldn't be the case with Wharton, but it would be interesting to see what they are holding out for if Spurs do come in with an official bid. Another youngster from the Championship attracting plenty of interest right now is Middlesbrough's Hayden Hackney. Now, Borough fans were always going to expect this with the level of performance that we've seen from Hackney over this past sort of year and a half in the Championship, along with some stand-up performances in the cup competitions as well. That's always going to draw the eyes of a lot of viewers, and also Premier League clubs on top of that. In recent days, I've seen both Liverpool and Tottenham being linked with the young midfielder. Generally speaking, Borough have been decent at getting a good transfer fee for a lot of their saleable assets in recent years, and like Adam Wharton at Blackburn, Middlesbrough also have Hackney tied down to a long-term deal until the summer of 2027, and so the ball is very much in their court to go ahead and dictate transfer prices and things like that, which is a big boost in these negotiations. We've already discussed Johnny Rowe a few times throughout the January window so far, and Brentford are the latest Premier League club to show an interest in the Norwich City winger. Norwich fans at this stage of the season obviously will be wanting their club to do everything they can to keep hold of Rowe, especially if they want to keep their top 6 hopes alive. I do think it would take a massive bid for Norwich to be tempted to sell in January, but the summer window may be a different story. Bit more on Isaac Hayden as well. Last time we spoke about him being recalled back to Newcastle, ready to be sent back out on loan to the Championship, and since that point Preston have been in talks with Newcastle over a potential loan deal, it would seem. Now half the Championship's been linked with Isaac Hayden, and I've got to admit, of all the clubs that have been linked with him, I think that Preston are probably in need of a new midfielder the least, really. I think we've got that position fairly well stocked up right now. Obviously, that would be a different story if we were going to cash in on someone like Ben Whiteman in the January window, but as things stand, it's all been quite quiet on the transfer front for people coming in for our midfielders. I did find that an interesting development. But guys, there you have it. That will now wrap it up for today's video. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you did go on to enjoy, make sure to leave a like. Do stick around and subscribe for some regular Championship content. But apart from that, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you all in the next one.